Hey everyone, I got a very exciting show for you today. I have a returning guest, a friend, and someone that I have actually gone out, spent money to go see speak at an event. And I just heard he is doing another event here at the end of the month that you all need to pay attention to and look out for because he is going to be helping the newbies. He's going to be helping the people that are in a niche expand. And anytime this young man puts something out, I will be checking it out. So, Bill Allen, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Michael. It's nice to be here again. So I've been watching all of your stuff lately. You've been putting out some incredible content, especially with everything that's going on in the world. So I'm like quietly listening on the back of almost everything that you drop. So it's been pretty good. I've been enjoying it. So
I appreciate
thanks.
it. I am very lucky that my relationship with my wife balances. I get up before 6 a.m. every day. She doesn't get out of bed till 9. I've got 3 hours to do my thing, and then the rest of the day is ours. So it works out really, really well. But I want to talk about this event. I know you did the Flip Hacking Live. It was an awesome event last week, but you're doing something now that at least started as an idea for veterans. As we talked about in the past, my mom and dad are both served in the military, so veterans, have a special place in my heart. Why don't you talk about the setup and then what was first an in-person and now a online event?
Yeah. So in the beginning, I have a background in the military. So I flew airplanes and helicopters for 15 years, active duty, and now I'm a reservist. I'm in 18th year. So May 1st, I just clicked over into 18 years. So I always find I wish I knew some of this stuff, and I see these young sailors and young veterans that are trying to figure it out. They're maybe doing 3 or 4 years in the military, then looking for the next thing. And so I wish that I knew some of this stuff, kind of had been taught some financial independence, a little bit about real estate or other areas that I could go in as I was an entrepreneur and just kind of didn't realize it. So I was interested to figure out, can we help some of these folks a little earlier on in their career, different times? And then you have people that are getting out of the military at 20 years trying to figure out what's next. And they have great skill sets of leadership and they can manage people. They can do all kinds of stuff. And they don't want to go back into the corporate world. They want to figure out something else. So I've been on a lot of different podcasts. I've spoken at other events where there's somebody who's building like a veteran community and of military folks. And so there's all these little communities that are building and growing. And I've noticed they kind of weren't like working together to figure out the same message. It may be a little bit different niche, but they're building these like followings of military members. So I talked to a couple of different ones throughout the past few years, and they were like, I wish that we could I want to do a live event one day, right? Like I'll do it at some point, but tomorrow never comes. And so I said, look, why don't we just do it? I was talking to a couple of them and I said, look, I got some live event experience. I have an event planner who's fantastic. They're amazing. You came to our event. They do all of that. So I said, can I talk to them? And they said, you know what? My dad was a helicopter pilot in Vietnam, flew Hueys, and I would love to help you put this together because I wanted to make sure this didn't cost a lot of money. Like my event that we put together that you came to, it costs like $500,000 to put something like that together. It's crazy. So I was coming out of pocket for something like this say like, almost like this field of dreams concept, right? We'll build it. We'll see who comes. Hopefully they show up. And if they don't, then okay, I put some money up and we made a run at it. We'll do it again next year. We'll figure out what we learned from that. So we found an event site, we put it together, and my goal was to just say like, how much money can we raise basically? And it's not for profit. So I don't actually make any money from this. We want to donate all the money to a veteran charity and figure out how we can help just kind of grow that community and give back to it. So that's kind of the idea and concept behind it, was like not a bunch of stress on my team and my staff. Basically, it's stress on me and my time, some of the other volunteers that are helping, and use some of the resources that we have as a company. So like some of our event planning software, some of our credit card services and things like that, and some of the courses that we already have that we could donate for VIPs to kind of try to bring in some more money. And so that's kind of how it started, as a little bit of a movement, right? We're trying to get all these other veteran speakers and presenters and coaches and stuff like that to jump in with us and speak about their different niches and kind of figure out what that looks like. So initially we put it together. It was a hotel in St. Louis. It was me and 2 other guys that were talking about it. And I just posted on Bigger Pockets. I made a post like, who would be interested? There's like 300 comments of people that are like, yes, 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 yes. And this is before you pull your wallet out, by the way,
Yeah.
to actually buy a ticket. Like everybody's interested. So it seems like there's this huge demand for it. And so I said, okay, let's do it. Like if we put it together, then people will show up, right? And let's figure out how we can not spend a ton of money on what we're doing and get as much out of it as we can so we can make a charitable donation. So I've really been passionate about charities. I mean, you came to the event. We raised $156,000 at that event. My goal this year is to raise $250,000 at my Flip Hacking Live event. But like figure out how much could we raise for a charity, and then how many people's lives can we change? So for the future. So that's kind of the big picture concept that we rolled out for this.
Yeah. And again, the thing that I feel the best about and why I follow you is because while you are a quality individual without question, character is there, go-giver, all of that, you have the ability you're like a magnet. You attract other like-minded individuals, and your ability to cultivate a circle of influence with other rock stars, what I saw at Flip Hacking Live, is unprecedented. I've been to lots of events. I've been in sales for more than 20 years, ran teams, all of that. It's easy to attract a couple of A players, have a couple of Bs, and everybody else is Cs. I don't know how you do it. I haven't seen anybody less than an A in your circle. And I don't know if that's intentional, like we don't see the Bs and Cs because they get cut out early, but your ability to attract and also hold together A talent, I haven't seen it. It has to be your military background, because it is a trait that I've never seen in 30 years of sales management. So.
Well, I appreciate that. I don't know that I can take 100% credit for all of that, right? So I think, when you bring in somebody and that, I think we talked about it at that event that you saw. It's really that core value thing. So like defining who you are, what your core values are, and then figuring out like who are those people that you want to surround yourself with. And it's interesting that you say that, because I feel like we probably have very like close-knit core values, the way that we think about things, who we are. So I'm sure that there's somebody else that might say something different. Like, and I do think that we have A players, but I think we attract the people that we're like, right? And so they come into our world. So I've been really spending a lot of time thinking about this. I think that the people that follow me, that listen to my stuff, are definitely the people that would follow you and listen to your stuff, because we're very like-minded individuals. And there's other people that provide other content and other angles and different. Like I had a woman come up to me at one of our mastermind events and basically say, like, this is amazing. I've never seen an event like this. I don't know how you do it, but I haven't heard a cuss word all day. And I said, well, it's just. And she said, I've been to a lot of these things, and I've never been to one where I haven't heard just bad, filthy language, people talking about like just kind of like the machismo kind of stuff, like beating on your chest type thing. And it's just not our community. It's just not, and so if somebody wants that and that's them, they're not going to feel comfortable necessarily with at one of our events, or they might say like, yeah, this just doesn't feel like the event that I'm used to going to, or I was expecting something else. So I think like I totally agree. Like my staff and my team are absolutely amazing. I don't necessarily know that that's a 100% reflection on me. It's interesting. It's like the community that we're building to attract, and we definitely try to filter out the people who it's just not for them. And I think like when you're building a business, you're thinking about that. If you really define your core values and who you are, and you don't tolerate the other stuff, like the people don't have integrity, for example, they're not good stewards of the company or the community, and they're not professionals, then it comes out in the wash. Yeah. So I think that they're just not welcome there, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So the reason I was bringing that up is because I am very excited to hear about who you have presenting at this event. And more importantly, before we go any further, I think we should make it clear that this event, while the motivation may have been to serve veterans, right? The youngsters that are the folks that are at their 20-year mark, the content that will be covered, the message will be delivered. It will not only serve veterans. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, absolutely. It's for everybody. It's also open to anybody who wants to come. So, and it was always open to anybody who wants to come. We were just adjusting the price a little bit for non-vets. Mm-hmm. And now it's the same price across the board. You can get access to the event for as cheap as $99. So we wanted to make it affordable. We wanted to make it easy for people to come get that information. And everything's going to be recorded and it gets uploaded into the portal for access afterwards. So if you miss something, you can go back to it. But yeah, it's anybody. And they're just going to be telling their story, in the beginning. Like what skill sets do I have that allowed me to grow my business and do what I've been able to do? So that's what I found. My direction to them for their presentation is tell your story a little bit, get people to hopefully see themselves in you and what you're doing, and then talk about what you do, like show them how. And that's what I'm most excited about is hearing. I get to be a fly on the wall and listen to all of these people speak about like their niches, and I don't even know some of them. You know, between the three of us, I had to find a veteran who was speaking about every niche in real estate investing, or they're currently active duty. I mean, we have an E4 active duty member in the Coast Guard. So an E4 is like a very junior rank in the Coast Guard, is probably like 20 years old, maybe, who's going to speak about Airbnbs, and he's grown a significant Airbnb business. I'm excited to hear him talk. And then we have a guy who's a commander in the Navy. We have active duty commanders speaking about their turnkey business. So all across the board, and different services. We got Coast Guard, Air Force, Army. We've got some National Guard folks. We've got some Navy people. It's incredible.
Wow.
We've even got a guy who's a submarine on submarines. So I got, like my dad, I'm going to look forward to ribbing on him a little bit, and he'll probably make fun of me about being a flyboy. So
all love. Well, I don't think we've said the date yet. So why don't we hit the dates and how people can go check out the agenda, and then we'll actually get into the agenda. So when is this?
Yeah, it's May 29th and 30th. So depending on when this comes out, it's just a couple of short days away. So we're kind of preparing for it. Next
just so
week
you know,
final,
it will come out today, just so we're clear.
That's impressive. So it's not this weekend coming up, but the next weekend. So May 29th and 30th. And it's like Michael said, it's virtual. We had to scrap our St. Louis plans with all the coronavirus stuff that's going on. And it's not just going to be any virtual experience. It's going to be like a virtual event, like a extended 2-day webinar, us talking at you. We've done a couple virtual events for our mastermind group, and the feedback that we've gotten is amazing. So this is going to be a full like live virtual experience is our plan. So I've got a lot of cool stuff that we're going to do where you're going to feel like you're networking. You're going to feel like you're talking to small groups and individuals. And we've got a lot of different games that we're going to play and stuff like that. So it's going to be a fun 2 days. It's not going to be just a boring, like 2 people on a webinar or 1 person with the slides talking at you. It's going to be fun and interactive. So I'm excited about what we've got in store. And you haven't seen a virtual experience like this before. Trust me.
Very, very cool. And that's the key to learning. I've learned, because people all learn differently. So when you can engage the audience instead of just sitting there behind a computer with the TV on in the background or whatever, it's going to be a lot stickier for you, right? When you get them involved, it is so much.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to see I think the thing is, I want to immerse people. You're going to spend time with us. You're going to have these speakers every single person on this list that I have in front of me some of the people have hundreds of millions of dollars in real estate holdings, doing large mobile home parks, completely financially free and independent, and surfing all day, and like really cool stuff that they're going to talk about how they got there. We got a team of real estate agents. That guy's doing like $1 billion in real estate transactions with his team. It's just amazing stuff, and basically talking you through and showing you how they got there, and just seeing if that's the next step for you. So really cool stuff. I think.
So where can people go?
The more engaged you are, the better.
Yeah. So where can people go? What's the website or Facebook page, or where do you want us to direct them now? And we'll hit it again at the end.
Yeah, it's veteranslive.com. So veteranslive.com. So we kind of modeled it very similar to our Flip Hacking Live event for veterans. So veteranslive.com. And the name of it is Veterans REI Live. So Veterans Real Estate Investing Live. Obviously, it's a Veterans Real Estate Investing Live virtual experience now. But the whole goal is to get live, to get in one place and see each other. But we'll network. We'll get to know each other. I'm excited about it. It's not a huge group. So the turnout that we have is not necessarily as big as I thought it was going to be. So I'm excited to be able to have a little bit smaller group and be a little bit more. We can probably do a lot more Q&A and a lot more things than I thought we were going to be able to do. So
very cool.
The one thing I do want to talk about is the charity that we're supporting.
Yes.
And it's a veterans community project. So for $35,000, this company can build a tiny house for a homeless veteran to bring them off the street. And so we're hoping to at least, bring in enough ticket sales and money from this event to donate at least one house. So $35,000 is amazing. We just donated a house recently and we put over $100,000 into it. So I'm excited to be able to hopefully do one, maybe two houses at this event. So it's gonna be fun.
That's very cool. So again, veteranslive.com, correct?
Yep. Veteranslive.com.
All right. Well, now let's get people excited by what they're going to see in a 2-day event. You want to go through the agenda, kind of I don't know how you want to do it. Talk about the person and the topic, or just the topic. I know we talked about this very briefly before we hit record. Lots of great stuff going to be talked about. How do you want to do it?
Yeah, we can talk about the topics probably.
Okay.
I'm happy to name some of the people. I would say we probably have some people that you've heard of where they have a podcast or they have a program or something like that. But a lot of these folks are just like, they're not huge celebrities in the real estate. They're like quiet assassins in what they do. So I'm happy to go however we want, but
let's do topics. That's cool.
We'll just run down through it.
Yeah, let's do it. Topics are totally cool.
We're going to start, the way I looked at it was we have this active side of real estate investing, and then we have a passive side. And we almost have like an active passive side and then a truly passive side of real estate investing. And there's only a couple things in my mind that are like truly passive, where you're not getting phone calls, you're not dealing with it, you're basically just getting a check. So what I tried to do was we tried to structure the event where it goes through that kind of flow, because we have some people that are going to that they're busy professionals, they're full-time active duty military members, and they just want to check. Like they have money, they want to put money into real estate, they want to invest in real estate, and they just want to get money back. So the way that we structured it was starting in the beginning of more like active careers. So we're starting with like a lender. So we're actually starting with a mindset conversation to get them ready for that. So we got somebody who wrote a book about mindset, about like playing all out. And so he's going to talk about mindset and motivation to get everybody kind of prepared for the event. And then we're going to roll into some of the active sides of things. So we have a lender that's going to come in and talk about his lending business. So number one, how you can use loans like VA loans if you're a military member, how you can use a VA loan to kind of explode your real estate business in the beginning, and then how you can like build out a lending. If you want to become a lender, what does that look like? And some of those things that he's done from his transition from military to becoming a lender. Then we got the real estate agent that I talked about. He's got an amazing team, built a huge team out of Maryland, Virginia, kind of that DC area, the DMV area. And he's going to talk about that, about building out a team, and not just a team of real estate agents, but kind of building a team, and then how to build kind of this real estate team, what that might look like. Then we're going to talk about personal finances. So dig into how are we saving money? How are we making sure that how do you become financially free in life? And this guy, Doug Nordman, is incredible. I'm actually really excited to hear him. I was introduced to him by somebody else, but he's written books on financial independence. He lives in Hawaii. He surfs all the time. I actually had him in. So if he was at the event, it's very easy for time zones. But now that we're on Central Time, he's like, I had him set up at like 4:15 in the morning to do his presentation. I was like, Doug, I can be a little bit later. He's like, I'm retired. I'm surfing all day. I'll just get up, do my presentation, go surfing. I said, let's make it a little more gentlemanly. You're 5 hours behind us. So that's personal finances and financial independence. We're going to talk about wholesaling. So I'm actually going to be the presenter about wholesaling. We do, somewhere around 150 to almost 200 deals a year, depending on what year it is. And so I'll talk about that, building a team of a wholesaling team. We got a flipper coming in talking about house flipping. So renovation project, dealing with contractors, raising money. What does that look like for him? Then we've got a buy and hold investor. So we have actually a stay-at-home mom. She's got, she works out of her house, and she's a buy and hold investor. So she'll talk about how she's built her rental portfolio around her life. And it's very similar. I think it's resonate to this crowd, right? Yep. And then we have somebody who's going to talk about the BRRRR strategy. So buying, renovating, renting, and refinancing, and then repeating that over and over again. We've got somebody who's going to talk about short-term rentals. So his name's Julian Sage. He's an E4 in the Coast Guard. It's amazing. When I saw his resume and his bio, I was like, I cannot believe this. When I was 20 years old, I was still in college. I had no idea what I was doing. I was a troublemaker. Man, you're doing some incredible things. So then we're going to talk about raising money. And so we're going to start getting into the multifamily side, like the bigger side. So that's a lot of the active stuff with some of the like single family passive things that are happening in there. And then moving on to some of the like so we went from active investing, like real estate agent, lender, wholesaler, flipper. All of these are really active investments. So for me, my business is very active. And then we're starting to get into some of the active passive with some of the buy and hold. Some of the BRRRR is probably pretty active. The short-term rental is definitely active. Could be potentially a way to do that passively. And then we're moving into the raising money. So we're going to talk about apartment investing. So becoming a general partner in apartment buildings. Whitney Sewell has a podcast as well. He's pretty big in the apartment space. He was a military veteran. So he's come in to work with us on the apartment side. And then we've got Scott Lewis is going to come in and talk about vetting a general partner as a limited partner. So this is like true, like for me, I'm a limited partner in some deals, and I'm also a general partner in some apartment deals and storage units. So how do you vet a deal and vet a sponsor to see if it's something that you actually want to invest in? So this is where you get to the passive side. So obviously you're actively looking at that sponsor, but then giving them the money, investing in the deal, and then just getting your quarterly returns, monthly returns, whatever that looks like. And so that's what I love about that. I create active income, and I basically put it into passive deals that way. I vet the sponsor, just as much, if not more than the deal. So, and I've heard you talking about a lot of that lately. So it's definitely important to figure out how to do that if you're going to be a limited partner, not just give somebody your money. So he's going to talk about that. And then we're going to talk about raising capital. So there's a guy named Bill Militello that's going to come in, talk about raising big money, like millions of dollars, hundreds of $1 million for some of these bigger deals. And the same kind of stuff can be used for some of the single family stuff about raising capital. Then we're going to talk about creative financing. So how to buy on terms. There's a guy named Gabriel Hamill who buys a lot of houses on terms. He's going to talk about that. I'm really excited to hear him talk. We're going to talk about house hacking. So like living in your house and renting out a room or two to figure out how to pay your mortgage based on that. And actually make money to own a house. We'll talk about turnkeys. And really more like working with a turnkey provider. So how do you vet a turnkey provider to be rented out, and how do you invest with them? And then we're also going to talk about productivity, goal setting. Becca Shea, my good friend Becca, is going to talk about that stuff at the end. And then one of the other big things we're going to talk about is content marketing. So how do you build a podcast? How do you build a YouTube channel? How do you do some of that stuff if that's where your passion goes, or if it's going to be a benefit to what you're already doing? So that's pretty much the lineup. I think I might have one or two other speakers that we'll throw in, and some surprises that we'll talk about. But as you can see, it's kind of like, it's almost like a job fair for real estate. It's like, what do you want to do in real estate, and what does it look like? And you can pick the different channel and path that works best for you. So I think it's going to be good for anybody who's new and anybody who's currently doing it.
Yeah, I think you've covered every aspect of it. And again, at the price point in the timeline, what are we talking about? Is it like 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Central Time, or what are we thinking?
Yeah, it's about, so we start on Central Time, and I think we start at 9 and we go to 5. So 9 to 5 Central Time. So on Friday and Saturday, so both days. And it's going to be a jam-packed day. Everybody's got anywhere from 30 to 40 minutes. We got some transitions. We got some cool games that we're going to play. We've got some cool stuff we're going to do during lunch with like breakout sessions and networking in between, like a longer lunch. That we get to do since we're virtual. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. And again, for my audience, when you listen to this, what you just saw Bill go through is really any area of interest you've had, right? If you're just getting started, all of them are covered. If you are an expert, or you feel like you're an expert in one or two of those areas, there's obviously other areas you could think about. We're all still dealing with this health event, which one of the things we should be doing is sharpening our saw, to use that analogy. And this event, 2-day event, you're going to be able to do that. He's going to bring the experts. He's going to have some special things, I am sure, to keep you engaged. And I can't recommend any Bill Allen event any stronger. So veteransalive.com. You need to check it out. Go look at the agenda, see if it's right for you, which I think it will be. Anything else, Bill, you want to say about this event?
No, well, the other thing that we didn't necessarily mention with the event is I've asked every single one of the speakers if for the VIPs, what they would do is after the event, if they would do like a call with them for an hour where you can dive deeper into there. And so there's a couple different options. Obviously the $99 is just come to the event, you get the recordings, those kind of things.
Okay.
But as a VIP, what we did was we put together for the next week or two afterwards, we're going to set up a time that you can actually come and really dive in deeper and ask your specific individual questions of every single speaker. So if you wanted to, you could be on 20 calls afterwards, asking questions and soaking up that information. If all you care about is multifamily, you could attend those like 2 or 3 people that are the multifamily folks, whether it's vetting a GP as an LP, whether it's the general partner side with Whitney, or it's raising money with Bill. There's a lot of different options, and then everything goes into the dashboard. So we have a membership site where all the recordings, all 20 recordings for the VIPs will be in there. So you can if you can't make the live Q&A, you can just watch it afterwards as we upload it as we go. So that's I said, what can we do for like the next level of people that want even more than that? And that was it. So I think that's going to be really cool. We've never done that in the past. It was just something that hopefully, and keep in mind, like all of these things, it's just what investment can we make to make it realistic to then like move that money over to the charity. So like I'm not paying myself for my time. I'm not paying my staff for their time. I'm not paying for any of our like systems and operations and overhead and any of that stuff for my company that's helping with this. So it's not just like the proceeds and the profits are going to the charity, like 100% of the money that comes in minus the credit card fee that I have to pay, like the 3% on every transaction, is going directly to the charity. It just happens to hit my bank account because somebody's got to figure out how to process all this stuff, right? And then it goes straight to the charity. So I think that's the cool part. So you can think of it, obviously it's talk to your CPA, but it's a business write-off. It's a tax write-off for you, for your company. And if you're a bigger donor, like I have a couple people who are like, hey, I actually want to do $1,000 or $5,000 or $10,000. Can I do that? That money will go straight to the charity. I don't want that coming through my company and stuff. So, and that way they can get a write-off from the 501c. So that's, I'm excited about that. I'm looking forward to doing one of those interviews, like people asking me questions about if 1 or 2 people show up, I can't wait. It's like a one-on-one coaching call or a 2-person coaching call or 5 people on a coaching call that I can dive deeper into my presentation. So
yeah, I think you're right. I failed to understand that VIP level, getting one-on-one time or even 21 time, just going deeper with those folks. That's a genius idea. And again, you can ask what I call the hard questions, right? Something you may not want to do in a big audience because you're just shy. But hey, if it's you and 5 other people that want to talk about that topic, ask the hard questions, get ready for it. So I think that's a very nice touch.
Yeah. And one thing I recommend people, they're like, I'm not sure if I want to do that. I don't know who all these folks are. I say like, look, just get the $9 ticket, show up. And then once you're in there for a half day or you see a couple of these people, you're like, man, I want to ask questions, because we're not going to have a lot of time for questions. 30 or 40 minute presentation. Yeah. We're probably not going to do any Q&A during the sessions. Like I got the schedule jam packed, and you might say, oh, okay, if I will pay to just talk to that person. Like these are folks that charge, I don't know, probably thousands of dollars an hour for their time for coaching and training, and they're speaking on different stages. And then you can just decide to upgrade when you're there. Yeah. So that's what I recommend for most folks. Like, let me show you the value, show you the content, get in the door for, $100, and then say, okay, this is awesome. I see the value here. So that's my recommendation. Cool.
Well, Bill, I want to thank you for all you do. Your ability to help people, also give back via charities. Again, was a part of the Flip Hacking Live event in San Diego, was a part of someone giving away some money to the donation. So I appreciate that. I still wear my shirt proudly, shirts, because I gave a couple of times. So that is pretty awesome. Thank you for that. Again, veteranslive.com. You need to check it out. May 29th and 30th, Friday and Saturday. If you have any interest in real estate investing, you will have multiple topics to learn from. So Bill, thank you very much for doing all you do.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. And I hope to see some of you guys there at the event. So I'm really excited. It's where I'm putting a lot of my time right now. So see you, Michael.
You got it.